They don't just want to win, they want to watch you lose while believing you chose to fail. The most dangerous people aren't the ones who scream. They're the ones who smile while they dismantle your life piece by calculated piece. You've met them. The colleague who somehow gets promoted while stepping on everyone else's work. The friend who always wins arguments by making you doubt your own memory. The leader who makes you grateful for scraps while they feast on your loyalty. They share one trait that makes them untouchable. They understand human nature better than you understand yourself. Right now, someone is reading your weaknesses like a book you didn't know you were writing. They're cataloging your fears, your desires, your triggers. And while you're focused on being honest and fair, they're 3 moves ahead in a game you don't even realize you're playing. This isn't about comic book villains or dramatic movie psychopaths. This is about the person sitting next to you in meetings, the friend who always gets their way, the leader whose charisma feels magnetic but leaves you drained. They're not sociopaths. They're not necessarily evil. They're something far more sophisticated and dangerous. They're Machiavellian. Modern psychology calls it the dark triad. 3 traits that create human predators: narcissism, psychopathy, and Machiavellianism. But Machiavellianism is the most sophisticated of the 3. Where narcissists crave attention and psychopaths lack empathy, Machiavellians possess something more dangerous: strategic emotional intelligence combined with moral flexibility. They understand emotions, yours and theirs, but they treat them as tools, not truth. They can simulate empathy, manufacture trust, and engineer loyalty while feeling nothing genuine toward their targets. They're not broken, they're optimized for a world that rewards manipulation over merit. The predator's mind. High Machiavellians don't see people, they see chess pieces. Every conversation is a match, every relationship a strategy, every interaction an opportunity to advance position. When they ask how your weekend went, they're not making small talk. They're gathering intelligence about your emotional state, your priorities, your vulnerabilities. Their fundamental belief system operates on 3 core assumptions. The world is competitive, people are inherently selfish, and morality is a luxury that handicaps those foolish enough to embrace it. They don't see themselves as evil, they see themselves as realistic. This worldview creates a self-fulfilling prophecy. Because they treat every interaction as potential exploitation, they attract other predators and repel genuine people, confirming their belief that everyone is motivated by hidden agendas. But here's what makes them truly terrifying. They're often right about human nature. We do have selfish impulses. We are capable of betrayal when pushed. We will sacrifice principles for convenience when the price is right. They see these truths that we prefer to ignore, and they exploit them with surgical precision. Emotional intelligence as a weapon. The most dangerous myth about Machiavellians is that they lack empathy. They don't lack it. They weaponize it. They possess what psychologists call cognitive empathy, the ability to understand what others feel without feeling it themselves. Think of a master pianist. They understand music theory, finger placement, and rhythm without being emotionally attached to every note. Machiavellians approach human emotion the same way, as a technical skill to be mastered and deployed strategically. They excel at emotional mirroring, reflecting back exactly what their target wants to see. If you value loyalty, they become the most loyal person you've ever met. If you prize intelligence, they position themselves as your intellectual equal. If you need validation, they become your biggest supporter, until they don't need you anymore. This creates the perfect manipulation machine. They can read your emotions with surgical precision, predict your reactions with uncanny accuracy, and push your buttons with devastating effectiveness, all while remaining emotionally detached from the damage they cause. The long game. Where impulsive personalities seek immediate gratification, Machiavellians play the long game with terrifying patience. They can maintain beneficial relationships for years, building trust and dependence before extracting maximum value at the optimal moment. They view time as their greatest asset, allowing them to outlast opponents who burn out from emotional reactions or short-term thinking. They can maintain grudges for decades, execute revenge years after the original offense, and build relationships that span lifetimes, all in service of strategic advantage. This patience extends to how they gather information. They never interrogate. They collect data through casual conversations, social media observation, and careful attention to behavioral patterns. By the time you realize they know everything about your weaknesses, they've been building that database for months or years. Their arsenal of techniques, strategic vulnerability. They understand that vulnerability creates bonds. But instead of offering genuine vulnerability, they manufacture strategic confessions designed to extract reciprocal honesty from their targets. They might confess to being too loyal or working too hard. Vulnerabilities that actually make them look better while inviting you to share real weaknesses in return. Triangulation. Master manipulators never fight battles directly. They create conflicts between others while positioning themselves as the neutral party or peacemaker. They share carefully edited information between parties, creating misunderstandings that they alone can resolve, making both sides dependent on their mediation. Precision gaslighting. Unlike crude gaslighting that obviously contradicts reality, Machiavellian reality distortion operates with surgical precision. They don't deny facts. They reframe context, question motives, and suggest alternative interpretations that benefit their position. You begin doubting not your memory of what happened, but your interpretation of what it meant. Information control. They hoard information like a precious resource, sharing only what advances their interests while gathering everything they can about others. They create artificial scarcity around knowledge, making people dependent on them for crucial information while operating with complete intelligence about others, weaknesses and motivations. Manufactured reciprocity. They excel at creating artificial obligations through strategic favors and manufactured crises. They might create or exacerbate a problem, then solve it in a way that makes the victim grateful rather than suspicious, creating debt cycles that are difficult to escape. The rise to power. Research consistently shows that Machiavellians are overrepresented in leadership positions across industries. They don't achieve power despite their manipulative traits. They achieve it because of them. Organizations inadvertently select for the very qualities that make effective manipulators. The corporate promotion system rewards confidence, strategic thinking, emotional control, and the ability to build coalitions, all strengths of high Machiavellians. Their willingness to take credit for others, work, blame subordinates for failures, and make promises they don't intend to keep gives them competitive advantages in organizational politics. They excel at managing up while exploiting down. Senior leadership sees them as capable, decisive, and results-oriented. Subordinates experience them as demanding, manipulative, and self-serving. This perception gap protects them from accountability while accelerating their advancement. Studies reveal that Machiavellian CEOs not only earn higher salaries, but also structure compensation systems to benefit themselves and their allies, creating self-reinforcing power structures that are difficult to dismantle from outside. The economic paradox. While Machiavellian traits benefit individuals, they impose significant costs on groups and organizations. Research shows that teams with high Machiavellian leaders experience decreased trust, reduced innovation, and increased ethical violations. Yet these same leaders often deliver impressive short-term financial results through aggressive negotiation tactics and strategic cost reduction. They achieve significant savings in acquisitions and production costs by leveraging relationships and information asymmetries that other leaders couldn't access. This creates a paradox. Boards reward obviously manipulative leaders because the financial results are undeniable, even when the human costs are severe. The social cost compounds over time as Machiavellian behavior becomes normalized, driving away ethical actors and creating cultures where exploitation becomes standard operating procedure. Recognizing the predator. The first defense against Machiavellian manipulation is accurate identification. They're not always obvious villains. Often they're the most charming, helpful, and competent people in the room. But certain behavioral patterns reveal their true nature to trained observers. Watch for information asymmetry in conversations. They always know more than they reveal while extracting maximum information from others. They ask probing questions while deflecting similar inquiries about themselves with humor, misdirection, or superficial responses that sound detailed but contain no real substance. Pay attention to how they discuss absent people. Machiavellians consistently share negative information about others while appearing reluctant to do so. They package gossip as concern, present speculation as fact, and position themselves as having exclusive insight into others. True motivations. Notice how problems seem to follow them despite their apparent competence and good intentions. They're frequently involved in unfortunate conflicts, misunderstandings that require their mediation, and complex situations that only they fully comprehend. Defense strategies. When dealing with identified Machiavellians, the most effective defense is strategic uninterestingness. Become boring, predictable, and unrewarding as a manipulation target. Provide minimal information in conversations. Don't volunteer personal details, emotional reactions, or opinions about others. Avoid displaying strong emotions around them, whether positive or negative. Enthusiasm makes you appear gullible and easy to exploit. Anger makes you seem unstable and provides them with emotional leverage. Maintain pleasant but neutral interactions that give them nothing to work with. Don't seek their advice, assistance, or validation. Every time you turn to them for help, you're providing an opportunity for them to create dependency or extract information. If you must work with them professionally, document everything in writing. Build alternative power structures. Develop direct relationships with key stakeholders rather than allowing the Machiavellian to serve as intermediary. Create documented records of your contributions that don't depend on their validation. Invest in skills and relationships that make you valuable to multiple organizations. The mirror of human nature. Machiavellianism holds up a mirror to the darkest aspects of human nature. Our capacity for self-deception, our willingness to exploit others when convenient, our tendency to rationalize harmful behavior when it serves our interests. The uncomfortable truth is that we all possess these capabilities. Machiavellians simply deploy them more systematically and with less guilt. They succeed not because they're fundamentally different from us, but because they're willing to cross lines we hesitate to approach. They operate without the moral inhibitions that constrain most people's behavior, giving them tactical advantages in competitive environments. The evolutionary advantage. Machiavellianism exists because it works. These traits persist across cultures and generations because they provide survival advantages in competitive environments. In situations where cooperation is unreliable and resources are limited, strategic manipulation and emotional detachment increase survival probability. The trait's persistence suggests that organizations and societies inadvertently reward Machiavellian behavior while publicly condemning it. We claim to value honesty and collaboration while structuring incentive systems that favor strategic manipulation and emotional control. This creates the Machiavellian paradox. We need their skills, but fear their methods. We benefit from their results, but suffer from their process. The integration challenge. The most sophisticated response to Machiavellianism involves neither wholesale rejection nor uncritical acceptance, but strategic integration of their insights while maintaining ethical boundaries. Many Machiavellian observations about human nature and organizational dynamics are accurate, even when their applications are problematic. Understanding power dynamics. Reading social situations and thinking strategically are valuable skills regardless of moral orientation. The challenge lies in developing these capabilities without losing empathy or ethical grounding. The goal isn't to become Machiavellian, but to become Machiavellian aware, understanding their methods well enough to defend against them while incorporating their strategic insights into ethical frameworks. The price of ignorance. Every day you remain unaware of these dynamics is another day you're vulnerable to exploitation. While you focus on being honest and fair, others are playing by different rules. While you assume good intentions, they're calculating how to use your assumptions against you. The world is full of people who understand these psychological principles and use them without conscience. Your moral clarity won't protect you from their strategic manipulation. Your good intentions won't shield you from their calculated exploitation, but knowledge can protect you. Understanding their methods can immunize you against their tactics. Recognizing their patterns can help you avoid their traps. The ultimate question. The choice we face isn't whether to eliminate Machiavellian traits from human nature. They're too deeply embedded and too strategically useful to disappear. The choice is whether to create systems and cultures that channel those traits constructively or allow them to operate without constraints. More personally, the question becomes, will you remain vulnerable to those who understand human nature better than you do? Will you continue playing a game where you don't know the rules while others have mastered them? Will you keep trusting in fairness while others profit from your naivety? Or will you open your eyes to the reality of human nature, both its light and its darkness, and learn to navigate a world where good intentions aren't enough? The predators are already watching. They're already calculating. They're already planning their next move. The question isn't whether they exist. The question is whether you'll see them coming before they strike. Understanding Machiavellianism is ultimately about understanding the full spectrum of human capability, our potential for both creation and destruction, our ability to build trust and exploit it, our capacity for collaboration and manipulation. The real question isn't how to eliminate the Machiavellians among us. It's how to build a world sophisticated enough to benefit from their insights while strong enough to resist their exploitation. Because in the end, the path to power is paved with other people's trust. The wise recognize this without walking on those stones. But some people will always choose to walk that path. Your survival depends on seeing them clearly, understanding their methods, and protecting yourself from their games. The darkness exists. The question is whether you'll turn on the light.